how do we actually use them? Casey would tell us, you have your spiritual ideal, like mine's kindness, love, mercy, patience. Don't try patience. I'll tell you why in a minute. Patience, non-judgment, another one I wouldn't start with. You start with that. You decide where you want to use it, right? And then you have what headspace, what cookie cutter do I need to bring that into my life? What headspace, what cookie cutter, what mindset? And then what are you going to do? Because just to talk about it isn't really doing it, right? You have to actually do it. So what physical action are you going to take? So this is a story that I made up so I can make it as heart-wrenching as possible. This is a story I made up about how to use ideals in your life. In my pretend story, I decide that I work in an office with cubicles. And I work next to a lady named Sally who has a cat named Mimi. And the only thing in the cubicle are pictures of Mimi, and there's a picture of Sally and her mom. Now, some of you have taken my ideals class, so you've heard this before. So I decide I want to practice kindness. Now remember, an ideal is an energy that you bring into a situation. It's not to solve a problem. It's how do I want to be during a problem, right? So I'm really struggling with being kind to Sally. So I say, what headspace do I need to be kind? Well, I need to be more patient, because I am not patient with the Mimi stories. Let me tell you that. Maybe if I understood her better, maybe if I understood her, I could be kinder. And then I need to practice non-judgment, because I judge her up and down the sides of the street, you know? So I said, okay, so I'm going to practice patience. Now, one of the things is with ideals is we have to give them to ourselves as well. So I need to be kind to me. So when I say I'm going to listen to a Mimi story, I am not going to listen to 5 Mimi stories. I'm going to listen to 1 Mimi story, right? You know, I'm going to have some boundaries. So I listen to the Mimi story, and I don't interrupt, which is really hard for me, and I get through it. I'm through it. Okay, that's my 1 Mimi story. Then I say, okay, I want to understand her, so I'm going to have lunch with Sally. So I decide to have, and I apologize because I know there's a Sally here, so I apologize. I'm going to have lunch with Sally. And so during lunch, I find out that Mimi was her mother's cat. And Sally had spent her whole life taking care of her mother. And that's all she did. So she didn't really have friends because she spent her whole life taking care of her mother. And then on her mother's deathbed, remember I said I can make the story as sad as I want. On her mother's deathbed, she said, Sally, take care of Mimi like you took care of me. I understand now. I understand why the only thing in Sally's cubicle is pictures of Mimi, because Mimi's mommy. Am I here to fix that situation? No. I just want to bring kindness into my interactions. And now that I understand, I can be more kind to her. So I go to the Keurig, because you know they don't have water coolers anymore at work. Everybody has Keurigs. So I go to the Keurig, and all my coworkers are going, I saw you got stuck with a Mimi story. And I say to them, you know, I understand Sally better. And I walk away. I do not engage in the gossip. So this is how I take Casey and make it real. This is how I take ideals and I bring them into my life. It's one of what I think is one of the most usable, because it's cool to know about karma and past lives and that you go to different planets in between lifetimes. But this is usable. So I hope if you take anything from today's talk, it's that you go home and you try and say, what ideal, what do I respect about someone else that maybe I can implement? What headspace do I need? And what physical action can I take? Now, you don't have to do 3 things. Try 1.